Hello and welcome everyone in another episode of Researchers Celebrity. Today we have Dr. Mohammad Nasir with us as our esteemed celebrity, and during this conversation you will see that why we say esteemed. A brief introduction of Dr. Mohammad Nasir. He has done his bachelor's and master's in biochemistry and molecular biology from University of Dhaka, where he also received Dean's Award for Academic Excellence. Then he joined Columbia University Research Project as a scientific officer in Bangladesh. For PhD, he moved to Juntendo University, Tokyo, Japan, and also did his postdoc there. Currently, he's serving as an assistant professor in Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology at Maulana Basin Science and Technology University in Tangier, Bangladesh. With this brief introduction, I would like to welcome Dr. Nasiruddin and thank you so much for taking time out for this conversation.
Welcome. Thank you so much for this conversation.
We always start these conversations that how and when you decided that you want to become a researcher.
Actually, when I was admitted in the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. That department as a research-oriented department. From the beginning, our teacher and our seniors, they always encourage us to become a researcher. So that inspired me to become a researcher. So that's why I carry over my my profession or my career like this researcher.
So before joining your PhD program, you have already worked in research projects for Columbia University Research Project as a scientific officer. How was that experience? And then what it made, like what were the consideration you were making when you finalized Japan for your PhD destination?
After when I completed my graduated from University of Dhaka, I had joined the Columbia University Research Project as scientific officer. That's a very big research project for the arsenicosis in Bangladesh, because in Bangladesh there are many people are affected with water with arsenic. So that research is a collaborative research in Columbia University and Chicago University. So we did a clinical trial or also a different experimental work to identify the pathogenesis and the treatment of the arsenic infected drinking water patient. And okay. After that, I am trying to pursue my higher study in the Japan, and I got the Japanese government scholarship, which is called MEXT, and I had admitted to in the Juntendo University as a graduate student in the Department of Diagnosis, Treatment, and Prevention of Dementia. And the department it's a sister department on the neurology.
So what were the considerations you were making while applying for your PhD abroad? And based on that, what all you can suggest to the viewers who are listening from Bangladesh and all over the world, that what are the things they should prepare themselves before applying their PhDs?
Oh, okay. So I understand. So because I have a good academic record, I got the Academic Excellence Dean's Award. At the same time, while I was working in the arsenic project, I get the co-authorship of several publication articles. So that article emphasized to get a good scholarship in the Japan. So I think it's necessary to if anyone he want to pursue his academic degree in the abroad, he or she should have articles and also the good academic record.
Nice. So for all the audience here who are aspiring researchers and want to do PhD outside Asia, we can say, or within the countries they are looking somewhere out or to a newer university, or even in fact for the eminent research institutes. As Dr. Nasiruddin mentioned, the publication and good academic track record is what we all know is the deciding factor based on what you get selection or the rejection. But what are the other based on your experience, what are the other key factors a researcher should think before their applications or even while joining a lab?
Okay. It's also you should have experience because when I was working in the master's degree, I work laboratory work in the plant biotechnology laboratory. So I learned the basic techniques of molecular biology, and after that, while I working in the arsenic project and at the ICD-DRB, I learned more about how. How can a researcher do their experiment and research conduct research experiment, so that I mentioned while I writing the professor to get opportunity for the PhD. So I think that also a attraction point, that's key point to receive to consider uh, for a PhD degree.
So from your application to the selection, that now when you have received the offer from Juntando University that okay, you have been selected for PhD, what was the first thing or challenge you faced when you landed in Tokyo?
Oh, okay. A very many challenging because I live in Bangladesh, so Japan is a first world country. So there are different. Everything is different from our country in the Japan. So at first, any person he or she going to abroad from their country, they have different cultural and like different eating habit, everything, environmental habit. So I face at first, how can I cope this environment at first, and the laboratory environment, because there are independent research, and the language, another problem is language because Japanese language is not so easy. And also when I was in Japan at the first time, I was alone, my family in Bangladesh, so I leave my family. So so gradually I overcome everything. And I have also difficulties to move because I have sarcomatous disease, so that disease affected my distal limbs. So that also become another challenge to how do I overcome, how do I pursue that degree. So that's a very big challenge, but I overcome because my professor always encouraged me, and my coworker also encouraged me. So that inspired that how can I say, that encouraged me to overcome this challenge.
Absolutely. And this is for all the audience here who are not aware that Dr. Nasaruddin have, as he mentioned, has limitations even for movement, which you or all of us think for granted. And we don't see that as a challenge that we can do all of that. With all those challenges, what Dr. Nasaruddin has shown to the world, and he is excelling in his research, is that nothing can stop you until and unless you are ready to give up. If you are give it, if you are ready to do your best and you are determined that what you want to do, nothing can stop you. It is actually true. Nothing can stop you. So
Oh,
no,
okay.
Dr. Nasruddin. Yes,
One
please.
thing I add one thing, because when the biological research is not very easy. It's
Yes.
always in my experience when I was in graduate student, I did a long experiment like 5 days, from Monday to Friday, and Friday evening we get the result, and Saturday morning we had a meeting, lab meeting, but in the evening we failed the experiment. So all the week work, 5 days work is get lost. So what the situation? But in my professor when I was meeting, he always said, let's try. And in Japanese, that's in Japanese term, gambatte. It's meaning that let's try. He always tell me, always told me, let's try. And another thing, I never said when I was leaving from Japan, my professor said Nasir always tell, I will do. He never give up. He try. He never give up. So that's make if another reinforce me to and overcome the challenges and overcome to get the PhD and postdoc from Japan.
So let's talk about all those, as you mentioned, about those failed experiments that you have spent the entire week. Okay.
Yes,
And
yes,
at
yes.
the end of the Friday, you are like, okay, it did not work.
Yes.
Now recently we have seen this, that people are started talking about mental health of researchers, especially in PhD student. But then it, we all know that it never goes less. The stress always build up when you move this ladder from student to a PI, when now you are supervising the students. So based on your experience, what you can suggest that when a researcher is going through this tough time, how they should overcome all these hurdles and troubleshoot and make their way?
Well, I think I faced several challenges, but overcome everything with good confidence and good determined and steadfast. You should have to steadfast to your work. So I suggested my student. So you make more patient, and you try. When you try, finally you get good result. Or if you become, but nowadays people are very crazy, and they are making their result like suddenly, like microbially, the overnight. But overnight is nothing can be completed. We cannot get any result by overnight. So we should have to give more time. In my experience, in my 4 years graduate degree, so 3 years I didn't get good data, but at the last year I get good data. And finally, when our graduation ceremony at the April, but in the December 2020, I got the 2021 March my degree, but in the 2020 December I didn't have any article. So what can I do? But I always, how can I say? I always try, and I hopeful, very hopeful. I get. And my mentor, one of mentor in Bangladeshi, he always encourages you should have to do, you should have to done. And also all the lab member, it depends on the lab member, how the lab member cooperate or not cooperate. But all the lab member always cooperate me. So I suggested every student should be steadfast and determined and confident, and he or she should have the good behavior with all lab members. If she connected and good behavior, good attitude in the lab member, he become, if any stressful condition from the PI, but he or she have the good connection, good attitude in the lab member, I think it's normalized. Or if he
Absolutely.
become, it's become it's like a chaos with others member. So nobody help him. Nobody like give me any suggestion or any advice to him. So I think another one thing is important. And also, when if you have family, the family is very important, vital. My wife, she always encouraged me. She always helped me. When I fail experiment, when I went to my home, she at the night time, she said, "No problem. Tomorrow you will you can get good data." It's another things. So it's all the environment. You, I think, help me to get this.
Absolutely. And I think this is for all the audience here. As Dr. Nasir just mentioned, that the support system, either it is family, friends, or lab environment, is so crucial that can help you walk through all those tough challenges or the path, like tough patches, as we all, some or the other time, encounter during our research. And another important point, which Dr. Nasser just mentioned, that even you can survive the outside environment, outside the lab, as harsh it may be. But sometimes what we have seen, the researchers fails because of the toxic environment within the lab. That is also some of those considerations which comes in these conversations all around the globe, that you have to ensure that the lab you join, the group you join, based on their reputation, but if given chance, because it's not possible that in all the universities or research institutes around the world you have this opportunity to visit the lab first, spend some time there, and then decide that if you want to enroll there or not. But if you have this possibility and opportunity to visit them and then to see how the lab environment is, what is the attitude of the supervisor, your PhD supervisor, that are they approachable? You can go and talk to your mentor if you are having any problems for troubleshooting, or as simple as for networking on collaborations. These are the things which you should consider before joining the PhD or the lab if you have this opportunity. Coming back to Dr. Nasir, like when you were like going through all those 4 years of graduate program, what is one thing, if now asked to you, that if you knew that how that path will be, how would you have changed your decision of doing PhD?
Well, because now very advanced stage. Uh, so I think everyone should prepare to do some academic. The theoretical knowledge is very important. So if you don't have the technical theoretical knowledge, you cannot good in experiment. So some people they're thinking I am good in experiment, but you should have to know what the rationale, what the main basic biochemistry, what the molecular biology. I think it should have to clear and for black and white in the undergraduate program, bachelor degree and masters. And after that, he or a student should have to, or researcher should have to prepare themselves by computer skill and English skill, and also the technical skill, how to write, write as abstract, how to write the proposal, and how to cooperate. So every time, be cooperative, and should have the punctual. The in Japanese they are very punctual. So every time they ask me, every time morning 9. So I try every time morning, before morning they also justify, you should have to come in morning 9. And also in the researcher, they don't have they are coming morning but not back, not the ending time, like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And also I did Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday also I did work in the Japan, when I was Japan. So I think be prepared on every student to cope any situation. And also another thing I in addition I add, so to share your difficulties, or your how can I say, difficulties, when you face any difficulties or any type of problem, so you share your friends or colleagues or who works, or your family member, so they give a good suggestion. If you get any hardship from anyone, if you hidden yourself, it make another very big deal. So another thing I suggested this one.
No, I think that is very important. Like having this fresh perspective, either from your colleagues, friends, or family, from
Mm,
wherever you get it, because sometimes we all know that we encounter the tunnel vision, that we cannot just think outside the box. And sometimes it is
mm,
that easy that you just hear this fresh perspective and then now everything is working. Exactly. That is one of the things. But with this fast paced research labs in Japan,
mm.
and based on your experience, how was the work-life balance there and in Bangladesh, if you can share with our audience?
Mm, I think researcher work is almost same, because researcher have to read, write, and experimental everything. So you should have more time also in Japan, in Bangladesh. But in
Mhm.
Japan, all things are available in the lab setup. Everything is, if you order anything, primer or any reagent today, tomorrow you will get. In Bangladesh, it's take more time. Uh,
Mhm.
so so almost same. I mean, almost same, and more time. You should have to dig more time. Without more time, sometimes when I was in postdoc, I had writing. I wrote a article. So I was thinking to write in my home, but my professor told me, no, you come to lab and you write in the lab. So this is the environment and the time, because in the lab is an environment and is a time schedule. So that's make a good product or good impact to get a good things.
Absolutely. So, what about the work-life balance? As you mentioned, that if, like now, what we are seeing, that new next generation of researchers are very well, educated about it. That they have their priorities clear. That okay, I do not want to spend more than certain period of number of hours a day or a week, or they are like, okay, we want to maintain a healthy work and life balance, which is good for everyone in general.
Okay. If they make a schedule like he spent 8 hours in the lab, so I think he should maintain his schedule, daily routine. When he went, he will go to the lab at the morning time, like 9, and from 10 p.m. he start the experiment, and after that experiment he um, organize everything. So I think if they make a routine schedule, so that helpful to work, balance the work schedule.
No, I think that is very important, and we can say this to all the audience that there is nothing wrong in having these hard boundaries for your work life balance. But as Dr. Nasir just mentioned, it is very important that then now you are super organized, you manage your time really well, you do not keep loitering, because that's our countries we have seen this multiple times, that they spend 2 hours for different meals or tea and this gossiping. That I'm not saying like it is not healthy, because sometimes that is your stress buster. You go out with your friends, have tea, coffee, and then share all the failed experiments there. So there is also that can be part of your research, but you decide about your hours. If you're super organized, you can even do as much as time you want to be in the lab. This brings us to the next point, that when you were finishing or wrapping up your PhD, what brought you back to Bangladesh, and what were the thoughts you were having at that point of time?
uh, okay. Uh, Actually, I had intended to stay in Japan, but I think for the long term, if I stay in Japan, so I'm thinking how, because abroad life is very how can I say, very struggle and very hardship. So I think to become in Bangladesh, because as long once upon a time I might have to come back in Bangladesh. So I thinking when I was very become very old, that time I become Bangladesh, so nothing. So that's why I thinking I go back to Bangladesh. So because I have 3 child, so they need to be education, and also the environment in Bangladesh, our culture, our society. If they always in the abroad, they don't know our culture and society, anything. So that's why. So I decided to back to Bangladesh and try to get a good opportunity. And then I had applied to Maulana Bhashan University for assistant professor.
Mhm. So for this now, if you can share this with our audience, that when you were preparing for your PhD outside outside Bangladesh, that was different. But when now you are coming with the PhD from Japan to Bangladesh, like we have seen these stories all around the world, that people go to the first world countries, as you mentioned about Japan, United States, UK. When they
Mm.
go outside for the PhD, but when they are returning back, they do not have that uh, networking, or they do not have like what we call in so many different countries, that the godfather, that you do not have
mm,
those connections in this country now because you have done your PhD outside. So how was that competition, if you have faced any, or how they should prepare, like these people who want to now go back to their countries, their home countries, with all these hi-fi degrees, what are the challenges they face there, and how they should over.
mm. I understand. I understand your point. I understand exactly. It's a very difficult in our situation, because if anyone want to back in their home country like Bangladesh and in the subcontinent, so very difficult. But um, I think if anyone try, and he intended to come Bangladesh or is their home country, he will get a job. But he need to be a patient, more time, and waiting time. But if you like your country, if you love your country, if you love your culture and society, uh, you back your home country, and I think you get good opportunity. You don't become like frustrated. Don't become
Mhm.
frustrated. But it take time. Somebody he back to Bangladesh and 6 months and 1 year they're waiting. But after 6 months and 1 year, he get good opportunity.
Absolutely. I think one thing which PhD teaches all of us is the patience and perseverance. That you just keep trying, as you mentioned, just keep trying, and then you will succeed in whatever you want to. Another point here is like when you are establishing your own lab and the group as a new faculty, and you have now spent 5 6 years in Japan, how challenging was to establish your own group?
It's very big challenge in Bangladesh. It's because I I have there in 2.5 year. And now I'm trying, and but not totally established. I make a little group and a little space, not full lab space in the lab. And last already two of my students, they will complete their masters thesis, and two group, four for 8 students, they completed their uh, undergraduate research project in my supervision. And also we will get a little fund from Bangladesh government, which also helped me to, and also the university give a little fund. So that's slowly make good things, a good group and research. And in addition, also I need to collaboration with others, because collaboration is very important. Because I cannot do anything in Tangail so without the collaboration with other lab, other university. So I have trying to my network, like my biochemistry fellow, so connected them in Dhaka and also Tangail in different places. So I'm thinking, so I'm trying to get a good good group and also lab.
Absolutely. And I think this is the message for all the early faculties, like utilizing your networking and establishing new collaborations can help you in building your research group. And also this will help you, not only you but also your students, because now they can have access to more than one specialized or expertise. You are expert in one thing and your collaborator is expert of another thing. So now the student can have the benefit of best of the both of the worlds. So that is one. And another thing is, whenever you are establishing collaboration, you are actually going to get some of those fundings too, which means again this can help you either in setting up the initial stages of your career or taking it to the next level, when you can make establish these collaborations not only in national but also in international. And this is, I think, how now these days the research is moving ahead, that now there are different funding agencies who, and they always encourage these, that you establish not only one kind of expertise but also interdisciplinary research, based on which, Dr. Nasir, you have done different kind of research in all your different stages of life. When it was
Yes,
arsenic
yes,
in the thing, and then
yes.
when you went to Japan currently, what are the different skill sets you can now suggest to our audience that they should focus on getting these different skill set at different stage of their uh, career, so that they can have, I will not say easier establishment of their own lab or group, but relatively less hurdle.
Yes, exactly. So the when I was started my research career, I did plant biotechnology, so plant research, and after that the human sample, arsenic sample, and then in the ICD therapy, the waterborne disease, and in the Japan I did neurology, dementia, Alzheimer disease, and when I come back to in Bangladesh, I go through research in the cancer, also in silico analysis, and also the others public health problem like preeclampsia and Wilson disease. So I suggested so basic is I said several times, you have good confidence and determination. So you will do something, and you will do for your nation and your country. If anyone have good and honest esteem in his heart, so he get good output. So basic thing is a clear. I think previously I told the clear basic knowledge and learn the basic technique. Basic technique is very important, and how to troubleshoot the basic technique and basic books, and also how to perform the experimental how can I say experimental protocol procedure, everything keep in writing and documentation. Always documentation important. Now student they didn't like to documentation. They think keep in memory, but memory is not always not working. Uh, and another thing I added there, so everyone is hardship and struggle. This is life. Life is not like a bed of roses, that we learn in the school. So always hard, but you have good confidence, so we can overcome. And also, I think you should know the because this is research oriented, and you should have multidisciplinary knowledge in the multidisciplinary. Now the bioinformatics in silico is very important and things, but it's not enough. You should have to know how to handle the biological sample and how to handle the machine. uh, and machine, if any problem in the machine, how to you technically overcome the problem in the machine and everything. Okay. I always observation in science. Observation is very important, and you should have to check and think, not like a follow. You think yourself, and you check and think, so you can get good data.
Yes, exactly. As you said, that observation is the key. And if you are not very keen on observation, even by the end of your PhD, then one thing is for sure, that somewhere the training has not been completed. Because if you cannot troubleshoot after your PhD, and if you are missing most of the observations, that means that the work is not done yet. So be very observant, be very curious always, because as Dr. Nasir said, that if something is not working, that doesn't mean that it did not work. It might be like either you are doing it a different way, or this thing needs a different approach, which can be helpful to achieve your research goal or research focus. Speaking of which, now we have seen that as you mentioned about documentation, data management. These days, with all this thing in the cloud, the students maintain the e-copies now.
Yes,
And
yes.
there are cases when sometimes it happens that there is a data breach or something like that, and or something just collapsed. I will suggest to all the PhD students having those hard notebooks where you physically write everything. It is one thing, it helps you memorize your own protocols, because whenever you are writing your brain hand coordination, this is established research that helps you. Also, this will help you in the time when you are compiling your thesis. All these things are very much important. Now, coming back to the last stage of this conversation, Dr. Nasir, when you select the students for PhD, if like as you mentioned that you have done, two of your master students are going to submit their dissertation, according to you, how new faculty should choose or pick the students they want to register for PhD under their supervision?
Uh, when I was interviewed in Japan, that time they don't ask very technical things. Because everything is documented, and my resume and my certificate and all things they checked already. But they asked me, my professor uh, asked me, you did different research, different time. How can you do a new research? So I just replied, I will do, no problem, because I learned the basic thing. So if anyone, he or she learn the basic thing, can do any research. So, another thing that he asked me that how can you manage leaving your family, everything. I replied that I will do, because they will come after 6 months or after while they will come. So when I choose a student, I prefer to student they have good basic knowledge about theoretical and little bit practical, because undergraduate students they don't much knowledge about experimental or practical knowledge, theoretical knowledge, and they should have good attitude and good behavior and very punctual. I need very punctual. If you give more time in the lab, if you get more time in the lab, I also advise my student, current student, give good more time. If you give more time, then you will get result. If you don't give more time, you don't get anything. Anything. Because if you sleeping in the room, laying down in their bedroom, you don't get any experiment, anything. So I suggested to I also I want you come to lab and study, and in the lab there are many people doing many things. If you see, observe how they did, you can catch up something,
Yes.
and you learn new thing. But when you work, you do only one experiment, but several students are doing different experiment. So you check, you see, and you learn from them, and you ask to senior or fellow, and sometimes you have to ask to your junior. In the research environment, you don't become shyful to asking any junior, because some junior researcher they did good from senior. So I think this basic uh, uh, key point I choosing when I was selecting a student for.
Absolutely. So whosoever is listening to this conversation and want to join Dr. Nasir's lab, now you know what are the things you should be aware of before having an interview with him. With this, we'll say thank you so much, Dr. Nasir, for taking time out. And for all the audience, we'll say that if you want to write to Dr. Nasir, you can write to him. If you want STEM for Society to help you in networking with our researcher celebrities as mentor mentee program, we are also offering that. The only thing which we want from you is your dedication, as Dr. Nasir mentioned, that if you have that attitude of let's try, I'll do it, let's try, I'll do it, If you have that, we are there to support you. Only thing is, you have to make sure that if research excites you, we are there to help you. With this, we'll say thank you so much, Dr. Nasir, for having this conversation with us.
Welcome. Thank you so much to you. So.
For all the audience, we'll say stay tuned for another episode of Researchers Celebrity.